They scan your head like you're a cashier and I'm a bunch of bananas. I'm not bananas, you are.
That's not really funny to people who have lost their kids to this vaccine. How dare you be so flippant, man?
I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week. Teaser.
Welcome back to Stoic Skills following our last video on this topic. Many of you practically begged for a deep dive into the soap opera, that is, Bill Maher versus Whoopi Goldberg, and guess what, we listened and we dug deep. And oh boy, the Bill Maher Whoopi Goldberg saga is less tip of the iceberg and more Titanic-sized cultural collision turns out. What we scratched was just the crusty surface of Hollywood's most awkward ideological tango. This isn't just a spat between two celebrities, it's a high-stakes battlefield where free speech clashes heat-in with the self-righteous gavel of woke policing. It's comedy versus cancel culture, logic versus outrage, and a fight for the soul of a society teetering on the edge of perpetual offense. And here's the kicker. Neither Hollywood nor Whoopi was ready for Maher's calm yet razor-sharp takedown.
Everyone knows Corona is no walk in the park, because you literally can't walk in the park. But at some point, the daily drumbeat of depression and terror veers into panic porn. Enough with the life will never be the same headlines. And stop showing us this. You know, everything looks scary when you magnify it 1,000 times. Here's a pubic hair. Boom!
So buckle up, because we're peeling back the curtain to reveal the drama, the hypocrisy, and the uncomfortable truths Hollywood would rather you ignore. Let's roll. Let's take you back to almost 3 years ago when Bill Maher said this about Bill Maher had officially had an apocalyptic doom-mongering it with the never-ending media circus about the coronavirus, while everyone else seemed to be stockpiling toilet paper and virtue signaling about their 37th booster shot. Maher was out here preaching the radical idea of living. He believed we needed.
That's not really funny to people who have lost their kids to this vaccine, or people who've lost family members or dear friends to this. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody. Because if you're the one who's not paying attention and you're coughing and sneezing, you don't want to then stay out of the public, man. This is not, nobody wants this. And I think he's forgetting that people are still at risk who cannot get vaccinated. People who can't get that. Little kids under the age of 5. Yeah. Or people with health conditions. How dare you be so flippant, man?
To adjust, adapt, and for heaven's sake move on with our lives, instead of letting the virus hold us hostage. But oh no, the woke mob wasn't having it to them. Maher's call for resilience and sanity was practically a hate crime, apparently, suggesting we find a balance between caution and normally was as scandalous as skipping leg day at the gym. And that was when Whoopi Goldberg chimed in. That's Whoopi for you, always ready to pounce when someone dares to utter a sentence that doesn't come with a woke-approved stamp. Bill Maher's crime suggesting that maybe we should stop treating normally like a mythical unicorn and, go back to living our lives. But Whoopi wasn't having it. Oh no, she eviscerated him as if he suggested replacing yoga with dodgeball at a woke retreat.
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
But here's the twist. Instead of generating public backlash for Maher, Whoopi's fiery comments turned on her fans loved Maher's take more than Whoopi's unsolicited advice, which earned him massive public support even from the ABC network, the puppet masters behind The View. They sent Whoopi to the TV penalty box for a timeout, proving even Hollywood has a limit to its woke indulgence fans gleefully called it karma, but he had a spicy take of his own, because if there's one thing Bill loves more than being right, it's making sure everyone
knows he's right, yep.
Bill Maher in this case is the lion and Whoopi Goldberg is the overly confident big game hunter who brought a Nerf gun to the savannah. She set out on the hunt to destroy Ma, armed with her woke outrage and moral
The Holocaust isn't about race. It's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
superiority. But Maher, ever the elusive and cunning lion, calmly turned the tables and left Whoopi caught in her own trap, tangled in the net of her own hypocrisy. It's the classic story of the woke mob, always prowling, always hunting for someone to cancel, only to end up shooting themselves in the foot. They're like amateur magicians, constantly pulling controversy out of a hat and acting shocked when the trick backfires. Ma didn't just survive, he thrived, leaving Goldberg with nothing but her bruised ego and a two-week suspension to reflect on her failed safari. Sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted, and who does?
The American experience tends to be based on skin.
Yes. And so that is what race means to me. When you talk about being a racist, I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
Doesn't love a good twist ending. You'd be forgiven to think that Whoopi learned her lessons, but no, she was back swinging. Sadly, she made one of the gravest mistakes in her life. The Whoopi Goldberg boldly claimed that the Holocaust wasn't racially motivated, but simply a case of the Nazis being inhumane, because apparently the swastika wasn't a big enough hint. Not only did this Oscar-winning actress deliver a historical blunder of epic proportions, but she also managed to ignite a firestorm of outrage, rage from Jewish communities and their allies. The uproar was so loud it probably echoed through the ABC boardroom, where executives suddenly remembered that the view comes with consequences. Naturally,
Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend, we can disagree with each other, should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement. Free speech. She should be there. She shouldn't get a timeout.
the show received its fair share of backlash too, because giving Goldberg a microphone is like handing dynamite to someone with a shaky understanding of history. But instead of eating a humble pie and apologizing not only for her obvious historical error, but also for her inflammatory statements, Whoopi doubled down. This statement ignited a firestorm of outrage among fans worldwide, many of whom practically demanded Whoopi's head on a silver platter. For the second time in her tenure on The View, Whoopi earned herself a cozy two-week suspension, proof that even Hollywood's darlings aren't immune to their own reckless commentary. But hey, that's what you get when you play the woke game and lose. It's like stepping into quicksand. The harder you try to moralize your way out, the faster.
Well, I had a different question, but it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
that's why Trump could get reelected.
You think maybe next time Whoopi will think twice before rewriting history on live television, or not. Now here's the interesting and shocking part. Bill Maher, the nemesis of Whoopi, could have capitalized on this moment and completely annihilated the actress, but no, he rather extended an olive branch. He still stood by his principles that free speech should remain free speech, and that no one should be punished for speaking their minds, even if they are wrong. Maher, ever the classic gentleman, stuck by his principles like a pro. Even when it came to Whoopi, he didn't kick her while she was down, proving once again that he's Not
If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
just clever but classy too now. Imagine for a second if the tables were turned and Maher was the one on the floor. Do you think the woke mob would have shown restraint? Oh, please, they'd have pounced on him faster than a vegan at a salad bar. The same crowd that preaches compassion and second chances would have turned into a pitchfork-wielding mob, gleefully canceling Ma before he could even say free speech. Woke culture loves to tout its moral superiority until their values are inconvenient, at which point they write the playbook. It's like watching a group of toddlers who make up new rules mid-game just to win. Principles consistency not in their vocabulary, so to get one over Bill Maher, this group of
This should be against the law. You should not be able to lie to the American knowingly. What do we do as Americans to say this is not okay?
You'd have to say the First Amendment.
Yeah.
I think you, well, no,
Well,
but
the First Amendment doesn't allow you to willingly.
political toddlers invited him to their den. There they tried all sorts of tricks to get Bill Maher into a tight corner, including twisting her words. Now I know you've seen this clip a million times, so we won't bore you with the full version, but here's something to pay attention to. The woke mob always attacks in packs. They're like a pride of lions hunting their prey. Sure, you might spot one out in the open, but trust me, the rest are lurking in the bushes sharpening their laws. Case in point, the ladies on The View invited Bill Maher on under the guise of promoting his new book. What this comedian said will shock, but instead of discussing the book, they saw it as the perfect chance.
I gave the commencement address at Berkeley. Someone has to check in with the people who tried to have my speech canceled and make sure they made it through okay.
Pride of lions hunting their prey. Sure, you might spot one out in the open, but trust me, the rest are lurking in the bushes sharpening their laws. Case in point, the ladies on The View invited Bill Maher on under the guise of promoting his new book. What this comedian said will shock, but instead of discussing the book, they saw it as the perfect chance to exact their revenge on the man who dared to challenge their sacred narratives. Unfortunately for them, Maher isn't just a comedian, he's a strategist. He saw the ambush coming a mile away and sidestepped their attacks with the kind of poise that makes lions look like clumsy house cats. Just like that, Maher looked the View host square in the eye and unapologetically laid out exactly why he refuses to march in lockstep with the
Seems to be a lot of talk about the dessert I requested for my birthday show.
The place that made these refused to make them for me. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff. Perhaps they did not like my politics.
to exact their revenge on the man who dared to challenge their sacred narratives. Unfortunately for them, Maher isn't just a comedian, he's a strategist. He saw the ambush coming a mile away and sidestepped their attacks with the kind of poise that makes lions look like clumsy house cats. Just like that, Maher looked the View host square in the eye and unapologetically laid out exactly why he refuses to march in lockstep with the woke mob. It was a moment so refreshingly blunt that you could practically hear the collective gasp from the audience. Maher didn't tiptoe or sugarcoat his words. He called out the endless virtue signaling.
These people are up at 3 or 4 o'clock every morning. The sacrifices they've made, the holidays they've missed with their families. To make Staten Island better, they have sacrificed for 145 years. And frankly, the people who defamed the Holterman family should apologize to the Holterman family for making stuff up to suit their needs. Not everybody wakes up every day and thinks about politics. A good business person doesn't care about anybody's politics.
Even when it came to Whoopi, he didn't kick her while she was down, proving once again that he's not just clever but classy too now. Imagine for a second if the tables were turned and Maher was the one on the floor. Do you think the woke mob would have shown restraint? Oh, please, they'd have pounced on him faster than a vegan at a Salad bar, the same crowd that preaches compassion and second chances would have turned into a pitchfork-wielding mob.
I appreciate that people are having a hard time. Me too.
Yeah.
I work for a living. If I had all the money in the world, I would not be here. I literally just work here.
Gleefully canceling Ma before he could even say free speech woke culture loves to tout its moral superiority until their values are inconvenient, at which point they write the playbook. It's like watching a group of toddlers who make up new rules mid-game just to win. Principles consistency not in there. Vocabulary, so to get one overbill. Biden.
Why do y'all need us to say this if we don't feel comfortable saying it?
No, it's not that we need you to say it, but I think other folks need to hear, because, you know, one of the things I'm sorry, just jumped you, I'm sorry, but one of the things that we've been talking about is the fact that getting facts out through the media seems to be very difficult.
Bill Maher, this group of political toddlers invited him to their den. There they tried all sorts of tricks to get Bill Maher into a tight corner, including twisting her words. Now I know you've seen.
Is it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
This clip a million times, so we won't bore you with the full version, but here's something to pay attention to. The woke mob always attacks in packs. They're like a pride of lions hunting their prey. Sure, you might spot one out in the open.
They were calling Trump a threat to democracy, and they were saying that, you know, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him. That's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, you know, nobody's above the law, I respect, you know, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
But trust me, the rest are lurking in the bushes sharpening their laws case and point the ladies on The View invited Bill Maher on under the guise of promoting his new book. What this comedian said will shock, but instead of discussing.
At some point, you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that they're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying.
The book, they saw it as the perfect chance to exact their revenge on the man who dared to challenge their sacred narratives. Unfortunately for them, Is
it worth the pain? Is free speech worth the pain? And is it really painful? Is it really painful? If you don't like this guy, don't go to his lecture.
Just a comedian, he's a strategist. He saw the ambush coming a mile away and sidestepped their attacks with the kind of poise that makes lions look like clumsy house cats. Just like that, Ma looked the View host square in the eye and unapologetically laid out exactly why he refuses to march in lockstep with the woke mob. It was a moment so refreshingly blunt that you could practically hear the
Alex Jones, who is not my friend and who tells crazy lies about me, is thrown off Twitter, I think, and Facebook and a few other platforms. I think he's going to...
Thank God!
Well, if you're a liberal, you're supposed to be for free speech. That's free speech for the speech you hate. That's what free speech means.
Collective gasp from the audience. Ma didn't tiptoe or sugarcoat his words. He called out the endless virtue signaling